18 months after our first WGN Investigates report on questionable spending by South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard, it appears she has been forced off the ballot.
Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who was appointed to that position tonight, lost her bid for the Democratic Party's nomination in this rarely used.
The drama in Thornton Township and Dolton, Illinois is reaching a boiling point as controversial politician Tiffany Henyard fights tooth and nail to hold on to her power. Known for her larger-than-life personality and self-proclaimed title as Super Mayor, Henyard has found herself embroiled in yet another scandal, this time centered around her exclusion from the Democratic ballot for Township Supervisor. The fallout has been nothing short of explosive, with accusations of election rigging, voter suppression, corruption, and even lawsuits flying in every direction. But is this a story of a political leader fighting for justice? Or a desperate attempt to cling to power amid mounting opposition and controversy?
7 minutes, that's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to be out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township Supervisor, and she left here visibly upset.
Let's start with the event that set everything in motion, the rare caucus held by Thornton Township's Democratic Party. For the first time in over 3 decades, the township opted to use a caucus instead of a primary election to decide which candidates would appear on the ballot. This decision, made by State Senator and Township Democratic Committeeman Napoleon Harris, was seen by many as a calculated move to block Henyard from securing a nomination. And, by all accounts, it worked. Henyard's name was denied a place on the Democratic ballot because her slate of candidates was incomplete, missing a certified assessor. Instead, Harris nominated himself and his slate, securing the Democratic ticket for the April election.
Fooled on how the Democratic caucus works right here in Thornton Township. You can also say that she flunked out because her name is not appearing on the ballot.
But Henyard didn't go quietly. She stormed out of the caucus, calling the process illegal and accusing Harris of orchestrating a coup. "You didn't run any of this the right way," she allegedly shouted at Harris. "This is election rigging at its finest." Henyard claims the caucus was nothing more than a sham designed to suppress her supporters and shut her out of the race. And if her fiery speeches are any indication, she's not backing down. She's vowed to take legal action, promising to sue everyone involved in what she calls an illegal and undemocratic process. The caucus itself was nothing short of chaotic. Held at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium, the event was marred by allegations of voter suppression and questionable rules. Henyard claims that hundreds of her supporters were left standing outside in the freezing cold, unable to get into the building. According to her, buses filled with seniors, many of whom she had personally arranged to bring to the event, arrived late and were turned away. "They had us out in the cold, letting only 2 people in at a time," she said. "We had a line wrapped around the block and they never let us in." To make matters worse, the meeting lasted only 7 minutes, with Harris and his allies swiftly nominating themselves and closing the session.
This is my prime example of people that's puppet masters trying to control the narrative.
Henyard's supporters have also cried foul, accusing Harris of manipulating the process to his advantage. Keith Price, a close ally of Henyard, called the caucus the biggest fraud he had ever seen. Hundreds of people were not allowed to be part of the process, he said. Election attorney Carrie Lynn Kraft-Heffer, who reviewed the caucus, echoed these concerns, stating that several rules were violated, including the requirement for voters to sign affidavits confirming their eligibility.
It should have been a primary, always has been in the history of Thornton Township. Always, 10,000 residents come and vote for township government.
But some residents argue that Henyard's accusations of voter suppression may be an attempt to redirect attention from her own failures as a leader. Critics have pointed out that she had ample time to prepare for the caucus and ensure her slate met the requirements, but she didn't. "It's not voter suppression if you don't follow the rules," one resident said. She didn't have a completed slate, and that's on her. Others believe her claims of unfair treatment are undermined by her track record of bending the rules herself, including allegations of using township resources to bus in voters who ultimately couldn't participate.
Because they can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls. But now when I bring the people out, you don't let them in?
The caucus controversy has also reignited debates about Henyard's leadership style, which many describe as polarizing. While she continues to portray herself as a fighter for the people, her opponents accuse her of dividing the community with her combative rhetoric and questionable decisions. Residents have noted that her frequent public outbursts, including calling Harris a coward and accusing him of a hostile takeover, do little to inspire confidence in her ability to lead. Yet, Henyard's supporters remain vocal, insisting that her exclusion from the ballot is part of a larger conspiracy to remove her from power. They argue that Harris and his allies deliberately orchestrated the caucus rules to block her candidacy, knowing she remains a popular figure among certain voter groups. This isn't just about the caucus, it's about silencing a leader who's done more for this community than anyone else, one supporter said. Still, the question lingers. Does Henyard have enough support to mount a serious write-in campaign? Or has the damage to her reputation been too severe?
It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be as a write-in candidate.
Harris, however, has dismissed these allegations, insisting that the caucus was conducted legally and fairly. The process was followed and it came out the way it was supposed to, he said. Harris also defended the decision to hold a caucus, arguing that it's a traditional method used by many townships across Illinois. People in Thornton Township may be new to caucuses because they haven't had them in a while, but this has been the tradition for many other townships.
What do you do tonight if you don't get the Democratic Party's nomination?
What do you mean? I will be victorious tonight. You will see. My people are here. They're not gonna go nowhere.
Despite Harris's assurances, the fallout from the caucus has been immense. Henyard's legal team is preparing to challenge the results in court, arguing that the rules were unfairly applied and that her exclusion was predetermined.
You didn't run none of this the right way. Illegal. Napoleon.
But while Henyard fights to get back on the ballot, many in the community are cheering her exclusion. For months, Henyard has faced intense scrutiny over her leadership style and alleged corruption. As mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Thornton Township, she's been accused of embezzling taxpayer money, using public funds for lavish personal expenses, and engaging in politically motivated retaliation against her opponents. In one particularly damning report, it was revealed that Henyard spent over $30,000 on Amazon purchases in a single day using the village credit card. Another investigation found that she spent nearly $100,000 on travel, meals, and other questionable expenses. Critics have dubbed her the worst mayor in America, with some even calling for her resignation. The controversies don't stop there. Henyard's tenure as Dolton mayor has been marked by chaos and dysfunction, with the village's finances plummeting into a multi-million-dollar deficit under her leadership. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was hired to investigate Dolton's financial situation, described the village's fiscal state as dire. Lightfoot's preliminary report revealed that Dolton's general fund balance had dropped from over $5 million to a deficit of nearly $4 million in just 2 years. The report also highlighted instances of excessive overtime pay for police officers, with one officer earning more than double their annual salary in overtime alone.
People were getting let in at the proper time. We had a caucus, and the people voted for us slated candidates to represent them.
Henyard's leadership has also sparked tensions within the Dolton Village Board, where she's been accused of bullying and silencing her critics. At a recent board meeting, Henyard declared, "Like it or not, I am your mayor," prompting many in the audience to walk out or turn their backs on her. Trustee Jason House, who is running against Henyard for mayor, described the situation as a dictatorship. He added, "The way she talks to us, it feels like we're in an abusive relationship. She's a bully." The scandals surrounding Henyard have not gone unnoticed by federal authorities. The FBI is reportedly investigating her for alleged financial misconduct, including the misuse of public funds and possible embezzlement. The agency has already issued subpoenas for records related to Henyard's spending and has interviewed multiple individuals as part of the investigation. Henyard's deputy police chief, a close ally, was recently indicted on bankruptcy fraud charges, further fueling speculation that she may be the next target of federal prosecutors.
We are awaiting Mayor Henyard to arrive. We will give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no explanation.
Despite the mounting opposition, Henyard remains defiant. She has vowed to continue her fight to stay in power, both as Thornton Township supervisor and as Dolton mayor. "The show will go on," she declared at a recent rally. Her supporters, though dwindling, are standing by her, with some arguing that she's being unfairly targeted by a political machine determined to take her down. "This young lady deserves that seat," one supporter said. "She's done a hell of a job," but not everyone is convinced. Many residents have expressed their frustration with Henyard's leadership, calling for her to step aside and allow fresh faces to take the reins. "She definitely shouldn't be in power at all," one commenter wrote. At the same time, fraud is fraud. Another added, "I have no sympathy for her. She's a disgrace and should never be allowed to run for any government job again." As the legal battle unfolds, one thing is certain: this is far from over. Henyard's lawsuit could drag on for months, costing taxpayers even more money and further dividing an already fractured community. Meanwhile, the race for Thornton Township supervisor is heating up, with Harris and independent candidate Christopher Clark vying for the seat. Both face an uphill battle to win over voters in a township that has been rocked by scandal and controversy.
We cannot let her get back and to be the mayor, and we already know she's not gonna win that supervisor seat. That is done.
At the heart of this saga lies a fundamental question. Who will the people of Thornton Township trust to lead them forward? Will they rally behind Henyard despite her many controversies? Or will they embrace new leadership in the hopes of a fresh start? And what does this entire ordeal say about the state of local politics and the integrity of our democratic process? Let us know what you think. Is Tiffany Henyard fighting for justice, or is this just another desperate attempt to hold on to power? Who do you think should lead Thornton Township? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding drama.